Head of U.S. Central Command is in Israel to assess the security situation as the country braces for a possible attack by Iran. Israel's defense minister met with Air Force commanders today, saying they must be prepared for anything. Iran is vowing to punish Israel for a series of high-profile assassinations, calling the threat of retaliation deterrence against further instability. New attacks across Israel-Lebanon border are only fueling, of course, those tensions. Hezbollah says it hit a military site in northern Israel today, as we heard from our Jeremy Diamond in the last 20 minutes or so. Let's get some perspective from Daniel Levy, president of the US Middle East Project. He's joining us from Scotland tonight, a well-known face on the show. Daniel, great to see you. Look, this is clearly a region on edge as it braces for Iran to, and/or proxies, I should say, to retaliate. We've heard from Iran, their message is clear. They're saying that blood vengeance is certain. How do you think Iran may respond here? Will it be solo? Will it leverage proxies in the region?
Well, of course, Israel has carried out these assassinations, these extrajudicial killings, in fact, off the back of 10 months, over 300 days since an attack on October 7th, which can't be excused, since the mass killing of civilians, the devastation, the causing of a humanitarian catastrophe, 40,000 Palestinians dead, over 15,000 children. If you wanted to dial this down, you have to put an end to that. And were America, were the Biden administration to have a diplomatic strategy to de-escalate, that's what they would have to lead with, using their leverage to get a ceasefire in Gaza, an end to those attacks, so that one could have the possibility of a regional de-escalation. They haven't done that. What we saw in April, after an Israeli assassination in an Iranian diplomatic compound in Damascus, was a measured Iranian response, which showed they had capacity, which was broadcast in advance, which allowed Israel to be told, don't now ratchet things up. Will Iran go for something similar? And will Israel respond similarly? Because what we know now for sure is that Prime Minister Netanyahu sees political benefit in an open-ended war. The Biden administration has been unwilling to use its leverage to prevent that. And so we are at a crossroads and at a time of great unpredictability, as you said.
Yeah, and look, and going back to that attack, in April, of course, when, just a reminder for viewers, Iran launched, 300 or so projectiles. A heads up, I believe, Daniel, was given, right? Given how embarrassing this strike was in Tehran, I wonder how aggressive you think that there will be, because the risks here, as Jeremy, we heard him saying, are not just huge, but it's so dangerous, this juncture.
Exactly. Look, assassinations, extrajudicial killings, Israel has a long history of carrying these out. It assassinated, it killed the founder of Hamas, Sheikh Yassin. It killed many of the Hamas leaders. Hamas is still there. It assassinated the leaders of Hezbollah, Munir, in 2008. Hezbollah is still there, stronger. The Americans took out Qasem Soleimani in an extrajudicial killing, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Supreme Commander. Iran is still strong. So these actions do not shift the strategic equation or the military equation, but they can sap morale and they can generate a response. And the question here is, do either Israel or the US have a strategy that goes beyond the military? Now, Netanyahu shows no interest in politics or diplomacy. Does the Biden administration show an interest in those things? Because if the signal Iran is receiving is that Israel continues to have a green light to do anything, then Iran may draw the conclusion, and Hezbollah may draw that this is going to end in a regional war, so we might as well set out our terms. There is quite a consensus, Isa, as you know, because you follow this closely, that the escalatory actor, the unpredictable, dangerous actor, is not primarily Iran and the axis of resistance. It is primarily Benjamin Netanyahu and the axis of Zionist extremism, and I think it's correct to call it that. The US has to decide whether it's aligning with that Arab states have to make that decision, or whether they're going to wind this down. That's going to be decisive.
Very quickly, Daniel, I was seeing the Daily Telegraph just over the weekend, quoting a senior Israeli source, said that Joe Biden's decision to quit the presidential race has emboldened Benjamin Netanyahu to take bolder action against Iran. I mean, what do you make of that comment? What do you make of the timing of some of these assassinations, even if Israel says it's not behind it?
I do think this is part of the calculation and the equation, but it's not Biden quitting the race that has emboldened Netanyahu. It is that America has been dishonest with its own public, with the world, perhaps with itself, by saying the only problem was Hamas and the axis of resistance, and not acknowledging that they have leverage with Netanyahu. They haven't used it. They continue to send the arms. We would not be where we are today if the US Biden administration had not allowed this to happen, had not indulged and given Israel a green light. And it's humiliating that the thing that they think they can use is to leak stories to their favored media outlets. I'm not referring to you here, that, hey, I was tough with him on a phone call. That's not serious. That's American weakness. That's humiliation.
I'm glad you clarified you're not looking at me. Appreciate, Daniel. Good to see you, Daniel Levy there. Thank you very much. We have just news